What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. How are you this fine day?
Doing all right.
Well, rainy day.
Well, it's still a fine day in its own way.
Yes.
As a rainy day can be the best day.
It could be. It's a pretty strong thunderstorms we've been
It
having the last
actually
couple
really
days.
is.
Like,
It's kind of
It
shocking.
kind of got a little hairy a little bit last night and this
I was
morning.
like,
Had some
my
tornado watches around us and
electronics.
stuff. I know. Surge protectors, please, everywhere. But no, it's a good day for a couple things. Yes, we have some rain, which much needed. It's a good spring shower, spring May's flowers, as they say. But then it's also another good day because we're here recording a new episode.
Finally. Gosh.
Our 160th episode, actually. So it's a pretty big day, but it's a big day for more things than one. And the fact that we're having a new episode, we're bringing in a new fresh one, and because if you've been consistent listener, been keeping up, we've been having to do a lot of replays lately, and it's just because we, specifically me, really, I hit a big wall with lots of different life things going on, and. I actually had a death in the family, and then I had to travel for a lot of work, and so that's just pretty much things were busy already, and trying to keep up with it was hard. But so then we just had to make that executive decision. So I thank you everyone very much for sticking around and listening, and your patience as we dealt through all of that. And because even the replays still got really good numbers, so thank you for all the good replays, sticking around and listening to those and all that.
We should just do replays
yeah,
for
just
the rest of the
recycle it
year.
all for everything.
Come back next year, fresh new ideas.
Yeah, so it's been a month, but here we are. We're back in the chair, and it feels great. And I think it's actually really cool that it's 160 for some reason. That has a new 10.
It's kind of like our Sweet 16. But the old version.
That's true.
If you were a 160-year-old person, you would have a new Sweet 16 to celebrate how far you had made it.
Because you'd be the first person in a
you'd be the new Methuselah.
There you go. So we're back, we're ready, and the episode 160 kind of feels like a nice little fresh restart to our year.
Indeed.
So we're going to keep bringing you that sweet gaming content that we talk about here on Team Chat Podcast, a weekly video game show. Like I said, we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. New episodes come out on Tuesdays, 9 a.m. Central Time, and you can listen to those on podcast services around the World Wide Web, such as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many, many others. You can also watch a video version of each episode on YouTube. Head over to teamchatpodcast.com/where to listen to find all the places where you can listen. We're also on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can join our Discord server. Links for all that are in the description below. And finally, we're a completely listener-supported show, so if you're really loving and enjoying what we're creating, also, again, thank you, patrons, for your patience as well, because we haven't been able to have early access and all that. So it's an incredibly big special thank you to all of you as well. We love you all. Big hearts.
Big hearts.
Check out the video version on youtube.com/teamchatpodcast. You can see us giving you
can see the real hand hearts right live.
It's true. It's real. We love you all. But you can join our Patreon and get cool perks like getting the episodes early, like I talked about, before the general Tuesday release. You also get access to a private Discord server, a channel on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery, where it's just, have a lot of fun conversation topics and a lot of gaming stuff and discussion that goes even outside of gaming. We're starting to recently have some little bit of Magic the Gathering discussion on there.
Yeah.
And some different stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun over there. So again, check us out, patreon.com/TeamChatPodcast. And a big thank you again to all of our patrons who make each and every show possible.
I have been looking more into how we can get around not being able to play Magic Arena on Macs.
Yeah.
Surely
there's
there are ways.
Maybe, I hope.
I think we can get
Fingers
around
crossed.
it by installing some suspicious drivers and stuff. You might want to do that on your personal laptop and not your work ones.
Yeah.
But we might be able to hack it.
I've been playing Magic the Gathering duels on the phone. And it's
the phone.
Yeah. No, it's actually pretty cool.
Is it really?
Yeah, because it actually showed me some different gameplay mechanics that I wasn't quite how they worked in the
maybe it's
physical card version. And so in the training of that, I was like, oh, so that's how that works. So yeah, I'm actually right now I'm working on a white and red deck that is highlighting Vigilance, Haste, and Mentor. So if you have any,
Mogan has a deck that is just like that.
Really?
It is.
Well, because I'm using a lot of cards with the new Boros.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff.
Yes.
So it's a lot of
it's one
featured
of the
around
Guilds
that. So
of
if you have
Ravnica
any deck building tips and advice, because I'm still really new at this, maybe we can start a little side channel on the Discord. That's all about
See,
Magic.
and if we could get Magic Arena set up for us, we could do listener tournaments.
Ooh.
Lose
like
in
this.
real time.
Yeah, because that's all that would be happening.
Want to hear us cry on Discord? That'd be pretty funny.
So because this is kind of like we're getting back from random breaks and things like that, this episode is going to be a little bit different in that it's basically just it's really going to be kind of us catching up because even we haven't been able to hang out and like interact and talk about things as much as we have. So it's gonna be a smorgasbord of different ideas, topics, and news. Like we're gonna talk about some old news stuff that's come out months ago at this point, or even a month ago.
We just didn't get to talk.
About it, so we want to talk about it and some different things like that. What we've been playing lately, and anything else that just comes to our mind that we want to talk about. So hopefully you all have fun with that. But before we get into that. Did you have a moment with me?
No, I just... Oh, shit.
I can restart all this.
I forgot that was something we did.
I told you, it's been a few days.
Whoopsie-doodles.
I mean, we'll have like the big news stuff and everything, but yeah, it seems like we'll just like some release dates of anything because I'm sorry, sorry, but you know,
I barely do my job.
But you do it so well. I just have no reason to doubt.
At the bare minimum level of effort. All right, so in case you missed it, recently come out as of April 2nd, you had Bomber Crew Complete Edition for PS4 and Switch. Darksiders War Mastered Edition came out for Switch also on April 2nd. Recently out this past weekend as well, Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission for the Switch and PC. I have no idea what that is, but if it's not Dragon Ball Fighters, I doubt anybody really cares. And then coming out as of this episode's air date, Dangerous Driving for PS4 and Xbox One. Arguably what sounds like the most honest driving game title I've ever heard. I like that. That's really funny. Also coming out today, you have Neo Atlas 1469 for the Switch, Shovel Knight Showdown for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and Mac also came out today. I'm really interested in that. Shovel Knight is a super fun game.
That one I've been curious about as well.
Shovel Knight is, it's basically like a retro-styled 2D side-scrolling platformer,
right?
And it looks so fun.
It does look
and
really
I
fun.
really should have played it sooner, but sometimes you just can't.
Life happens.
Another one that I really am excited about just because it's kind of like a throwback, Ace Attorney Trilogy is coming out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So previously, the Ace Attorney games, as far as I know, have only ever been for Nintendo platforms. So the fact that the old trilogy is coming out for all of these different platforms is super exciting.
And you've played some of those before, right? Like we've talked, or am I confusing it with Professor Layton?
Both. So I've played more of Professor Layton. I played the very first Ace Attorney game. And then I think I tried to play the second one, and for whatever reason, I didn't really like it as much. But I was also younger back then, and my skills of deduction and reasoning weren't as powerful as they are now. But those games are much more intense than you would think. Like when I was actually in like the court trial in the first game, I was like sweating. I was like, oh my god, this is so stressful. I don't know how people can do this job. They're really fun. So I hope people do. I hope that gets a lot of attention. I'm excited about that. Also on April 9th, there's a lot coming out today. Zanki Zero, that is spelled Zanki and then the word zero. Last Beginning for PS4 and PC. No idea what that is. My bad. And then coming soon on April 11th, you have Earth Defense Force Iron Rain. Have
you played or seen any Earth Defense Force games?
No.
The last one.
It sounds like real-time strategy.
It's not.
It's not?
It's actually... It does. Those sound like it should be that. But it's actually... the one I played, it came out for PS Plus for the PS3, and it's like Earth Defense Force 2044, something like that. But
something stupid.
It's basically you're just like soldiers fighting huge bugs.
Oh,
and it's
so it's like a military sci-fi game.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's really it felt more like an arcade game that you'd play at like a Dave and Buster's or. Something like that.
One of the ones where you get like the fake plastic gun. You go, pew, pew, pew.
It definitely kind of felt like it should have been more of that kind of game rather than on console. But so it was interesting.
Really
I just played around with it because I'd heard about it and was curious, and then I played it for like 10 minutes. I was like, not for me, but it's interesting.
Maybe that's the kind of game that they should consider for VR.
I could see that doing well in VR.
Well, anyways, Earth Defense Force, Iron Rain, for PS4 April 11th. And then coming extra soon, or not extra soon, just soon, on April 12th, Nintendo Labo VR kit for the Switch. I think we're actually going to talk about
Let's
this
go ahead and jump
in
into
today's topic. But wait, there's just like two more.
Okay.
Give me two more. And then on April 13th, you have Konami Arcade Classics for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
That should actually be pretty fun. Some good arcade
There's a
games in
lot
there.
coming out this month.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty hefty
Because we're almost
assortment.
I'm trying to think. I guess Days Gone is one of the big games coming out at the end of this month.
Yeah, that's the end of the month.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mortal Kombat 11. I forgot about
Okay,
that.
man, I know. Like that game looks so cool,
So-
and I know I'm terrible. I am trash tier at fighting games, but every time a new Mortal Kombat comes out, I get excited and want to play it.
The only thing I know about this new Mortal Kombat is that the character design, like lead guy that they got to do it, seems awesome. Because I don't know how many of the previous, or really it's like in all fighting games, the super sexualized female character designs are
Right.
getting super old.
Yep.
And the new guy was like, you know what? We're not going to do that. And like he really redesigned them to still look super badass and cool without literally wearing like string bikinis while
Right.
they fight.
That's
so,
great.
and he like had a whole article interview and people were like, wow, these are a big departure from the past. And he was like, yeah, it's on purpose. And he even said like, if we lose people playing the game because of this, I don't care. This is how I wanted to design
Right.
them. And I
That's-
was like, good for you, man.
No,
Stick
that's
to your
awesome.
guns.
That's really awesome.
So that's all I know about Mortal Kombat 11. And as a result, I personally am much more interested in it.
I mean, but you're into Tekken. I know it's different games, but
it's different games. Tekken is also guilty of that to a certain extent, but
I
it
think
comes
that
out
to an extent they all
it
are.
comes
I feel
out
like.
more in the customization. I feel like with Tekken, whereas with a lot of other games, it's just built right in. Like it's just like, yeah, they're gonna have size double H boobs and like a waist that's this big and absolutely no armor, also a thong on the battlefield, and it's like cool
because that makes sense.
with high heels. Neat. That's real cool.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I feel good about this.
Well, it's good to see that taking an affirmative step to change that.
I
That's great.
really like that. So, guy whose name I can't remember at this
I was
time.
actually going
Good
to look
for
him
you.
up because I feel like we need to give him a special shout out.
Whoopsie. It was some article, and I was like, neato. And actually, the designs look really sharp. They look. I don't want to say like cartoony, but they look very like bold and bright.
Yes, they
like
do.
with really sleek lines. They're really cool.
Oh, I'm going to jump in then to the next thing. If you could look up at these
Yes,
guys'
that's
names
what
really
I'm
quick.
doing.
So speaking of Labo VR, which also is awesome that they're bringing this even to Labo as another offering to it. But the big news around that is that Nintendo announced that there was going to be versions of Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild that are going to be playable on Labo VR. So two things about this, or really the main thing that I want to jump into about this is to ask you, how do you feel about that? Since you haven't necessarily been the biggest proponent of VR. And now, but now here are like two games that I feel like you love Breath of the Wild and
Yes.
obviously things like that. So I feel like, how does this affect your overall view? / having not yet played it though, taking that into account as well.
My gut reaction is a firm, but I feel fair, boo.
Okay.
So I am still. So it's going to be Breath of the Wild and what?
Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey.
As two of the bigger, I think there will be more, but I think those are like the bigger ones that they're bringing up first.
So what will that look like in actual gameplay then? Is it going to try to put you in a first-person view of Link?
I doubt it.
Because that's the thing.
I feel like
Both
is a
of
major
those-
reimagining
yeah,
of the game at that
both
point.
of those games are from a third-person perspective. So what's that actually going to look like when you're in it?
Yeah.
I mean, are you still going to be looking at Link or Mario, and then it'll just be the world that surrounds you?
Maybe.
Those are the questions I have that make me like, how's that gonna actually
Because especially
function?
with Super Mario Odyssey, with it transitioning in some points in from the 3D into the 2D.
Yeah.
Like how will that quite play out? I imagine if for anything it'll be more of you can look around and have a little bit bigger field of view based on how you're looking, but especially in Breath of the Wild, how will that tie into say like combat? Especially like I could see aiming your bow, they could have some really cool integrations with like the Joy-Cons if you hold them in your hands and stuff, and you're like you can maybe do like the bow pull like what they had in the archery from Wii Sports, way back when.
good old Wii Sports?
Just throwing it back to the classics. And so I don't know, but I'm interested in it. I don't know of enough to buy a Labo
Oh,
VR
no.
kit.
Nope.
But I'm interested in it, and it will be cool to see videos when that comes down the pipe.
Yeah, I am really interested just to see how it turns out, but in terms of like my personal investment level in either of those experiences, literally zero.
Yeah.
There's no chance that I'm going to actually invest money in that. Even though I think Labo, by and large, is a fantastic idea, those specific games being more or less ported into a VR format, not super jazzed about it. I feel like the potential for VR comes from new, quirky, kind of really different ideas. And I'm just not really, I don't know, I'm just not super excited about that whole concept. And I mean, I don't know, I feel like, would it really be better in terms of how the game plays? Because considering how movement oriented Mario Odyssey in particular is, you know, it's a really popular game now for speed runners, for people who are really into pushing the limits of what you can do mechanically with the game. How's that going to translate into a VR setting? Is it going to make the controls wonkier? Is it going to be harder to actually get Mario from point A to point B the way that you want to do it, and not necessarily the way that the game has laid out for you? So I don't know. I'm just not sold on it. Still, VR sucks.
Still not on the VR train. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
still
fair.
not on
I mean,
it.
that's fair. That's a very good point. If you think you're not going to enjoy it, like, why spend the money and all that other stuff?
If it were already a first-person like viewed game, I think I would be a little bit more amenable to that idea. But I'm just really not sure how that's going to work.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know what actually is going to happen with it.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
And I actually think I may have found that guy's name. Maybe stall for like 2 seconds.
Okay. Well, I'll stall for 2 seconds by jumping into like the new, the next part of this conversation on Breath of the Wild in terms of catching up is I recently, after expressing my frustrations with Breath of the Wild and how my playthrough of that had been going, I did, in the midst of all this like work travel and things that I had, I did restart Breath of the Wild.
Which is crazy.
Yes.
I can't believe you actually did it. I did not think that you would like really ever go back to it. Not
I feel
gonna
like,
lie.
well, because I honestly felt like at this point, if I didn't restart the game, my whole like basis of it was going to be tainted. And I kind of wanted to have because of how much issue I was having with getting started, because I, granted, on my own fault, I started playing, fell off, pick it back up, fell off, pick it back up, fell off. And so it was hard to retain some of the things. And I feel like I just missed things about it. I don't know. So I wanted to be able to give the game a fair shake, which is why I restarted. And I have to say, I reached out to our patrons on our Discord, on the Rogues Gallery channel, asking them for any tips and tricks that might make my experiences better. And my God, has those tips and tricks paid off already. The biggest one, though, I will say, came from Riven, who told me not to ignore saving your high level equipment and waiting until like a big boss, which is exactly what I had been doing in my first playthrough. I was using lower end weapons and everything to fight like the little enemies that you fight, and then when I would get to bigger bosses, that's when I would pull out the big guns. But that has made it so much more enjoyable, not feeling like I'm just basically scratching people, even minor enemies, with my weapons, which is what it felt like in the first one. Now I'm actually running up and having good fights. I'm pulling off impressive moves. I actually really figured out how to do the dodge and like the flurry attack.
Oh, good.
And all that different stuff, jump attacks, all this different stuff. It's just been that in and of itself.
And that's
has made
really
the
good
experience
advice,
so much
because
better.
you will get weapons every which way till Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, you won't even have enough slots for all the weapons that you have.
Which I'm already running
Yeah,
into.
exactly.
So I have like, I feel like I'm just paying more attention as it started. I'm understanding like the story. I'm understanding what's going on. I've figured out like better ways to find like the restless crickets. I know we talked about that one the last times we talked about it. It was the errand where you have to find, because what's the guy's name? Manny in Hatano Village. He wants to impress Prima, is she the hotel, or is that the...
Yes, you're right. Yeah, she's like the cute girl that runs the hotel.
Yeah, and he wants to impress her, and he makes you go ask her like what she likes, and she says crickets, like to be kind of a jerk about it and be like, I'm not telling you what I like, I just met you. And so you have to go collect 10 crickets for this guy. I've actually started finding crickets because I realized you can cut down the grass,
exactly,
and that's how you find the crickets.
Out back to the... Yes,
Yeah.
okay,
See?
good
so
for you.
I'm figuring out these little things that I just completely missed and glossed over in my first initial playthrough. And I'm already... My initial playthrough, I stopped at the first Divine Beast, Varuta, which is the one I was going for first. And so that's pretty much where I'd gotten to. And I'm already like almost back to that. So I'm making pretty good progress, and I'm feeling just better about it. I'm cooking better meals. I'm doing all this other stuff. My only big thing right now, which I talked to you actually a little bit about last night, is that my left Joy-Con is on the fritz.
Yeah.
Which is really making it difficult to play.
Which is unfortunate because I feel like that problem is mostly fixed.
Yeah.
At least
but like
for
I
me,
did the software updates
yeah.
and everything, so I'm trying a few more things. I'm gonna figure it out. But
Okay.
so I'll just play on Pro Controller or whatever for a while.
Exactly.
But,
And I mean,
so
I
it's not a
feel
big deal. I just did on my like work travel that I had coming up. I was like, I'm not bringing my Pro Controller too. I'm already carrying all this camera gear.
Yeah.
Like, it's a stretch to even get the Switch to fit in my carry-on. But damn it, I made it fit. And so I was just like, so I'll do that until I can get that figured out. But it has been so much fun. My only thing I'm trying to figure out now, and now this was what I was going to ask you your opinion on, when I upgrade by turning into spirit orbs to the and everything to upgrade my stamina and health, what should be like the ratio that I do? Because I know stamina really should be done first, and
Yeah.
I've upgraded it twice already.
Good.
So now I feel like I should be able to get a heart,
Yes, I think that's pretty fair.
like 2 to 1.
I think that when I initially started the game, I was mostly prioritizing hearts because I was, in true Breath of the Wild fashion, dying a lot, mostly in stupid ways of like falling down mountains because I didn't have enough stamina.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like a vicious cycle of, well, if you don't have enough stamina, you're going to fall off and you're going to die because you don't have enough hearts. But if you have more hearts and you still fall, you're still going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So I think stamina is probably where I would go again if I were to like start again from base 1, because now that I'm not a scrub lord at the game, I feel like I can survive combat with minimal hearts,
Right.
which is like what a lot of master mode is kind of about. It's like, can you make it with just 3 hearts the whole game? You can. So as long as you've got like your shields and you're doing okay in combat, really stamina is, I think, the more useful thing to kind of beef up in the early game and then catch hearts up a little bit later on.
Nice.
Unless you find that you're dying left, right, and center.
And I really haven't been. Like every once in a while, I got into like I ran across remind me again, and I know this is bad since I've just been replaying it, but the little like
Koroks?
no, the little goblin-y creatures you first like discover and fight against.
Bokoblins.
Bokoblins. Yeah.
Bokoblins?
Bokoblins. That's right.
I don't know how people... I say Bokoblin.
That's how it looks.
Yeah, I've heard people say Bokoblin, though, and I was like, kind of goblin, and
which
I was
makes
like,
sense too.
I don't like that.
But then it's Boko.
Let's just call them orcs.
Bokoklins or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so like I found a group of those that I just ambushed because I thought it was like 1 or 2 of them, but then it turned out to be a really big group.
And then it turned out to be a lot of them.
So I'm like running, throwing bombs behind me, like, get away!
And see, that's where stamina really comes into play,
Exactly.
because if you run out and you can't keep running, they're going to
gonna
catch
get
you.
And I did catch a really like high-powered horse as my first horse.
Ooh, nice. What'd you name it?
Bojack from BoJack Horseman. I love the name. I think it's great.
Bro Mogan will like that. He likes BoJack Horseman.
It's a great show. But what is the other thing? That is the only thing. And I
Wait,
think
what
it's
color
because
is the horse?
He's that like light green with the gray,
green.
like with the gray mane-ish kind.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's not light green. It's like more of like an earthy green.
Like kind of a grayish blue?
Yeah, I think it's a
have
better descriptor.
okay.
Yeah,
I have a horse that
with like
color.
a grayish mane and tail and stuff
I
like
think
that.
of my color horse that matches that description. I named her Starla.
Oh, how fun!
It's how fun. Sparkly.
But yeah, so I've been enjoying that, and I think it's because of my left Joy-Con issues. But that's like my biggest complaint right now is the horse controls are driving me crazy.
So the horse is not like the best, at least in combat. I think the horse is my favorite component of the game for sightseeing because I just set myself at a nice little trot, put myself on a path. The horse knows where to go, and I'm like, smell that fresh air. Like just walk through the game and it's like, oh,
enjoy the sights.
It's a beautiful morning. Look at the stars.
I mean, great landscapes to look at in Breath of the Wild.
Beautiful
No lie.
landscapes. See, if they just had Breath of the Wild VR horse riding simulator, where like it's first person on a horse just in nature, I would 100% be on board with that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yes, this is the experience I wanted.
Kind of like how in Assassin's Creed Origins had the discovery mode, where like you could explore ancient
Yeah,
Egypt and all
that
that
would
stuff
be
and learn
really
about it.
that
and you
would
didn't
be
have
a
combat and different
great
things like that.
great type of thing to do. If they could do like a discovery mode for Breath of the Wild, which it kind of already is,
Yeah.
a game that's always in discovery mode, but like there were just really no enemies and like they really beefed up like lore and discoverable stuff, I would be all about that. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Listen to me, Nintendo.
She's got ideas.
Speaking of, this is a very brief aside. I think in some recent like US report of like top 10 companies that have the highest, how did they describe it? Like consumer trust, basically like how much do consumers believe in your company and like think that you're doing a good job, Nintendo was like number 3. Like
that makes
Nintendo
sense.
North America was really high up there. And I was like, yay, Nintendo. Meanwhile, Sony and Xbox, or Microsoft, I guess, in the toilet. I actually don't know what they ranked. I just know they weren't Nintendo.
They weren't as high as Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo has...
Confidence, consumer confidence.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's how they phrased it.
Which is interesting. Before the Switch, I think if you had asked that about Nintendo,
Oh,
it
it
would
would
have
have
been so
been
much lower.
so bad because of the Wii U.
Yeah.
The Wii U tanked it, and then the Switch like just brought it so beautifully
far back.
I know it's old news, and we did already talk about it, but I am like shaking in my chair for the new Link's Awakening. I cannot wait.
See, now that I've been playing more of the
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, I'm getting really interested in that too.
That might be like when it comes out. This is obviously too early to say, but I'm already thinking that might be my game of the year.
Really? Already? Before it
I,
even comes out?
I mean, Link's Awakening was
Bold words.
bold words. So who knows? It might suck, but probably not.
It doesn't look like...
It
if the
doesn't-
art style is any indication,
Yeah.
it's not going to suck.
I mean, and if it plays anything like A Link Between Worlds did, or the original Link's Awakening, I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
As long as they can make a killer soundtrack to go along with it, it's going to be phenomenal.
Nice.
I'm excited about
Which, again, I bet they will.
it. Yeah, they better.
They better.
Nintendo.
So the second really thing that we wanted to talk about, and kind of a news story, and this one is old, apologize, but we had to touch on it, and we had to talk about it. But it's Google Stadia.
So
So we're getting a new entry into the console gaming world from Google. So
now this is a topic that I am woefully not even a little bit caught up on.
fortunately, the good thing is there's still not a whole lot known. Like, we have their initial release where they talked about it, all the things at GDC this year is where they talked and really announced it. And so they're breaking it down and like talking about the bullet points, and that's pretty much how much we know. We don't know price. We don't know how
so
you
is it
buy
actually
games
going
or
to
how you
be
get
a
games.
console? I thought it was like some sort of virtual console.
It is. It's like a
Okay.
cloud-based console in quotes. Like
Okay.
it's a cloud-based kind of thing because yes, you will basically be able to play games through Google Stadia on any internet-connected device. So phone, PC, tablet, TV, different things like that. And they have its own Wi-Fi connected controller because you can connect through the Wi-Fi, it's stronger signal than like Bluetooth or anything like that.
Right.
So that's the big thing. They're touting that you will, depending on your internet speed, be able to, at some point when they roll it out fully, be able to stream 4K 60 frames per second. That's pretty impressive.
Wouldn't
but
be
also,
able to do that at my house, but go on.
again, and so we'll get into that in a second. So, but right now it is rolling at 1080p 60 frames per second, and then depending on your speed it will have adaptive quality depending on your internet speed. They do recommend though 25 megabits per second as your main speed to like really get those good benchmarks. And like I said, we don't know really anything yet on pricing. We don't know if it's going to be like a subscription base. We don't know if it's going to be a per game basis. Maybe it's an add-on to games that you buy from, like you buy for PS4 from Best Buy, but you can for $10 more get the Stadia upgrade. You know, who knows how it's going to be.
Yeah.
But really though, the main thing of what I wanted to talk about that, because that's the main like rundown of notes from there. And I got this all from the Engadget article when breaking down the release.
Gotcha.
From GDC. And so basically, what are our thoughts on this? Like, my initial reaction to it is kind of, I need more before I
I need like
on.
just a lot more information.
Yeah. My whole thing is I understand the benefit of cloud play and being able to play anywhere. Like, that's awesome. If we can get to the point where that is truly a thing, like, you know, PS4 and the Sony just released the mobile play app for your phone, which I like looked at and I was like, no thank you. I'm never
No,
playing a game
thank
this
you,
way.
Sony.
Unless maybe like Stardew Valley, but I already have that on my Switch, so why would I play that on my phone? You know, kind of a thing through the PS4 app.
And for people like you with very large hands and fingers, you would basically need an iPad to have that actually be like kind of a natural feeling
because then it's
control
like
scheme.
if I'm trying to do this,
that takes up so much of you. Like for me, it's like
like even
But
playing
for
with
you-
that was kind of an issue with me and why I'm loving the Switch as a handheld, because even the Vita felt too small for me. And like, especially because it had the touch pads on the back that you could use for motion controls in the game and different things like that. I found myself really feeling like I'm just holding this tiny little thing. So again,
You know, I'm not sure. Did they ever, this is very off topic, did they ever release like a Vita Plus? Like a larger, really?
Yep.
That seems like something that they maybe could have done.
maybe, but the Vita's now dead.
Yeah, well, it's been dead for many years, but
But yeah, so they won't be doing that. But still, so I understand the ability and the desire to have that. But is it practical. That's my thing. Like, I could see it being really useful in your home, but outside of the home, unless you're like, because most places don't have that fast, like 25 megabytes per second internet. Like, you're not going to get that at like a Starbucks or.
I mean, even at like the airport, the internet's
definitely
not
the
that
airport.
good.
You know, you get the 5 megabytes per second as the free. I mean, you can pay for faster, but still, it's not going to be that fast. So I see the benefit of it being like, the one big benefit I do see is, especially if, say, I had an internet connected TV here in my office, and then, you know, Sam's watching something out on the TV out there. I really want to play, you know, the newest Assassin's Creed, and I want to, but you know, I'm no longer tethered to the room and the console that has it. I could now just like pull up and like screencast or whatever it is, pull it up in the web browser and play it on the TV. That is really cool.
Yeah.
But I still think the internet thing, the speeds of it all, is going to really be its hindrance.
I mean, it's obviously very situational sounding, and. You know, I feel like to a certain extent, it's like a catch-22, because on the one hand, if you want to try to break into this like next wave of cutting edge technology, you have to start somewhere. So to a certain extent, it's like, well, at least they're making an effort to like try and approach these sort of next horizons of where gaming might be going.
Right.
On the other hand, if it's too prohibitive at the start for people to really join in on, is it actually going to go anywhere? And that's just sort of a question that we'll have to wait and see what happens. But for example, I just get free Wi-Fi from my landlords through their internet connection, and they don't charge me for it. So I will never pay for internet unless they officially kick me off. And it's like, well, the cost of that is my internet speeds are not great. And like, even with games like Anthem and Monster Hunter World, which naturally had kind of those longer loading times, I sit there for a pretty long time and I'm like, any day now. And on the one hand, sure, I could eventually pay for better internet, but do I want to?
I mean, if you can save the money and get it free, like,
yeah,
what speed
why would I?
What speed do you think you're rolling?
Unknown. I haven't checked. Bad.
I mean, and for
not
me,
good.
The thing is, for me, and what I look at it is that would not be an effort, and I mean, a problem for me here, because since I do video and I'm uploading, downloading stuff, like I've got Google Fiber, so I'm rolling really fast. So that's not necessarily a thing for me. But if you are trying to hit this massive player base, especially in more rural areas and everything like that, like, is this really going to connect, or is this going to be a thing where the faster internet speeds are more widely accessible?
Yeah.
But then on top of that too, the next part of this is, yes, what are their pricing structure going to look like? How do we, like, is this going to be a subscription? Is it going to be a pay per game? Or is it, like I said, which I doubt is going to be how it actually turns out, but will there be like an add-on price to if you buy it from somewhere else that allows you to be playable on Stadia? You know, so that's the whole thing about it, because my big thing, and my, even with streaming, movies, TV shows, and all that, and music even, if it's something I really enjoy and love, I'm going to buy it so that I own it. So having it as a subscription service isn't necessarily going to be what I'm looking for, because I don't want to pour. We talked about this actually on our Discord when the news of this all came out. And the point that Fuchsia and I were making on there is that we were both just like, I don't want to spend 100+ hours in the new Assassin's Creed only for, due to licensing things or whatever, it is no longer available on their service. Am I just shit out of luck?
Yeah.
Like, did I just lose all my stuff? Will my saves be kept for as long as I'm a member?
Well, if it's cloud-based, presumably yes.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, what if the game goes away and I never can get back to the game? Well, then I got to buy the game already again, and then I'm buying the game on top of the subscription service when I could have just bought the game in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think these are my big questions, and that's more how my reservations about it. I think, yeah, if they come out and it's like, it won't be, but like $5 a month, and you can get Google Stadia and play all these blah blah blah. It'll probably be like 10 to 15, I would imagine, per month, if it is subscription based. And again, will I get that? Probably not. Yeah. Because again, I want to, if it's something I'm spending a lot of time in and everything like that, I want to own the game.
Exactly. We're collectors. We have collectors' hearts. Right. We can't help it.
I understand the benefit of using services, which is this is probably going to really hate, especially now with Xbox Game Pass and now Stadia, and I'm sure more things that come out, like services like GameFly are going to like maybe die.
Yeah.
But you know, it's going to really bite into their consumer base. But I don't know. It's just, that's why I have never signed up for Xbox Games Pass or the PS Now, their streaming game streaming service too.
Yeah, I forgot they had that.
if I'm going to play the game, I want to own the game.
Yeah.
And if I don't like the game, I'll return the game. I understand, or not return the game, but like trade it in or give it to somebody else,
Right.
something like that, which I hardly ever do because I
Yeah.
usually still enjoy
Most
almost
of the
all
games
games
that I
enough
buy.
to keep.
Exactly.
You know, I understand the benefit of being able to just pick up a game, try it out, and be like, oh, that's not for me. No big deal. No harm, no foul. That is appealing, but not enough to force to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my primary concern really just boils down to I don't like the idea of having to always have a good enough internet connection
Right.
to play my games. Like the good thing about having an at-home or portable console like the DS or like the Switch or even, just standard Xbox and PlayStation is even if my internet goes out, as long as I'm not playing online games, I can still play my
Right.
games. And the idea that like, well, what if there's a power outage? That's cool. I'll just pop open my DS, play something on there, and there's no harm, no foul. Whereas if there's no internet connection, which can happen in many circumstances, if you just if it's storming and the connection gets kind of wonky, that makes me very concerned. And if it requires such a reliable threshold to be playable at all, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not super sold on that.
yet to be seen what it all. And I'm assuming E3 or some maybe later shows they'll give us more information.
Oh yeah, this is Google Stadia. Never mind.
Because I do know that in response to that, Microsoft came out with statements being like, "Hey, this is really cool. We're interested. Like, this is cool that Google's here, and we're interested in like what their product is, but like we're planning something also."
Yeah.
kind of a thing. In fact, I'm gonna find this out. I'm gonna pull this up.
Xbox is like the underdog that I really want to see make a massive comeback.
Like I've been saying, I think they are in
I
the new
think they're
generation, the
working
new
on it.
console
I think they're
generation.
working
I think they're
on
going to
it.
blow Sony out of the water.
And it's funny because I have a very natural antipathy towards like massive corporations, except Nintendo. So anytime like Google is like encroaching upon what I see as like our territory, I'm like, fuck off, get out of here. Nobody wants you here. So I'm like, come on, Xbox, do something big. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just, obviously we just need a ton more information to be able to have truly informed opinions on it.
Right.
Because all we have right now are suspicions and fears.
And just basically the bullet points they gave out at the big announcement.
Yeah.
So I did find it. The Verge article by Tom Warren. Microsoft's Xbox boss response to Google Stadia promises we will go big for E3. So it says, quote, Google unveiled its new Stadia cloud gaming service yesterday, and Microsoft was watching closely. In an internal memo to the Xbox team, Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, responded to Google's announcements by promising a big E3. Quoting Spencer, Google went big today, and we have a couple months until E3 when we go big, hint Spencer. So they're obviously working, and I'm assuming it's another thing with Games Pass or potentially even announcing the new
See, that's what I think
console.
they're going to do. I think they're going to at least announce or like have a promo video or something for whatever their next console is. Because now that I really think about it, the kind of mid-generation console that they, Xbox, whatever, I don't know, whatever they're on right now.
Right.
That's been a while since it actually came out.
I mean,
so it seems like
2013, I believe, was when
Yeah.
the PS4 and the Xbox One first came out. And, there's also been the iterations of the S, 1X, and the PS4 Pro. So, yeah, like it's 2013, it's 2019 now. We're on the cusp. And that's what I think I think this year will be the announcements. Next year is when they start rolling out.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think Xbox is probably, if they're going to be, breaking into their next generation of consoles, they're going to want to try to stay ahead or at least on par with whatever Sony is doing. Because the PS5 question mark it's coming eventually.
PS Infinity.
Yeah,
They're just going to skip numbers.
PS Obsidian.
But I mean, honestly, though, that would make the most sense because then you can just do like Infinity .01 whenever they upgrade like this. If it's all going to be like cloud based anyway, or whatever. Oh man, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what all comes out of that and what further developments we get from Stadia. Obviously, E3 is going to be kind of big with that because to see what Microsoft. I'm excited to see what Microsoft's going to come out with.
Me too.
I really
for
am.
'em.
I really am too.
Plus, I really want more information on Ori and the Will of
Yes!
the Wisp. Like, come on,
Give it to
gimme,
us.
gimme.
I mean, we're at least going to be able to get, at least now, because like Cuphead coming to the Switch, which is awesome. Let's get some more of these Xbox
Right.
platforms on
This
Switch.
whole Nintendo Xbox partnership, I'm like,
good
yeah,
things are gonna come
look
from
at
that.
these friends barely getting along. It's nice.
It's good things. Good things.
These are good things.
Yes.
We need to team up.
So another big, since switching gears to another one, is Wow, that actually works as a really well transition because Gearbox announced that Borderlands 3 is officially coming within the last week. Well, probably by the time this comes out, it was like a week and a half ago when they announced this. But still, Borderlands 3, the long-awaited sequel in the game, and 4th installment in the series, because there's Borderlands 2, Borderlands pre-sequel, yes, and then this one, and then that one. So yeah, the 4th installment in the Borderlands sequel series is coming out, and it's coming out this year, September 13th, 2019, on all platforms except Switch, and it's going to be a Epic Games Store exclusive for the first 6 months.
Oh, okay, gotcha. What is Epic Games Store?
So it's basically Epic, like creators of Fortnite and all that stuff. They set up their own like Steam rival store, and they've been getting a lot of like really big, bigger games, and so getting a 6 months exclusivity deal where Steam can't sell it for 6 months.
Oh, I gotcha.
So it's causing quite a stir.
Okay, I see.
From Steam users who are like, we want it too. But,
Well, you know what? That is, as much as it sucks to be the consumer that can't get your hands on that exclusive, I understand why companies do it.
But also, I understand it, but having exclusive games, PC game store rights seems odd to me.
Yeah.
Because you could just go buy the physical version at a store somewhere.
True.
Or you can just sign up for the free Epic Games Store account and buy it then.
Yeah.
I understand. I guess, though, it is kind of the thing where if you're into having your achievements on Steam, again, anyone who is a PC gamer primarily, please weigh in on this because we're not. We play console only, really.
We have
Macs.
So
we have Macs
what are we
too.
gonna do?
What are we going to do? And so weigh in if this is wrong or way off base. But it's just, for me, that seems like a nitpicky kind of thing, like argument to have. It's like, cool. For me, I would just be like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll just sign up for Epic Games Store. I've downloaded Fortnite from it anyway. Why would I not?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
I guess the other threat, though, from a consumer perspective, is if you do make something exclusive for a blank amount of months or even a year, as we've seen some specific games do in the past, like, for example, Tomb Raider, that period of exclusivity is also a period in which the consumer can just rapidly lose interest. Because if a game comes out and you're not able to play it for a year, by the time that year is over, do you even remember that you really wanted to play that game?
Yeah.
So even if it's 6 months, the same thing kind of applies. Consumer attention is that's a low attention span nowadays. So they could potentially be losing out on money by making it not freely accessible to people across all PC platforms.
Right. So.
But that's a risk they're clearly willing to try out, and even if it's just a tester and they're like, wow, we really shot ourselves in the foot with this, at least that's a lesson learned. Maybe hopefully they'll learn from it if it doesn't go well.
But still, Borderlands 3, I'm super excited for it. I love the first Borderlands game. It was incredibly fun. It's they promised, just like in the trailer for this one, they're like, there will be billions of guns,
billions
and all
of
this
guns.
Stuff. One is even a gun that has legs and chases after people. It's like a character and thing in this. They haven't gone too much into like the story details. It looks like it's going to focus around kind of a cult, like an outer space cult. From what shot in the trailer showed, like I can't remember what it looks like now, but it's like Children of the Star or something like that. This is like what the cult is named. It has a new innovation I was reading up on with the co-op, because you can play this game single player, you can play a co-op with your friends, but in the past versions of the game you would have to say you found a chest, you'd have to fight over loot, basically, like whatever pops up.
Oh gosh.
But you can have it set now in this one where each player will get their own unique loot drops,
that's
basically
nice.
in different parts in the game. So there's no longer this whole thing of
oh man, I
stuff,
feel like I kind of like the idea though of having to fight your own friends for the loot. That's
like,
kind of fun.
It's like anything. It's even like in Apex Legends. You land and everybody's scrambling like, where's the guns? And all this. And so it's all about just being able to find stuff like that. So it might remove it, but for people who don't want to have to worry about that, which honestly, like me, that would get annoying if everybody else who's bigger and better than me keeps getting all these bigger and better guns and not letting me have any.
Plus, that at some point somebody's going to get like overly butthurt, and then you're just not going to play anymore. You're
exactly.
like, fine,
quit stealing my damn guns.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it'll be a fun time. But I thought that was a pretty neat little thing that they added into the game.
Yeah, never played Borderlands, like I said. Can't say I have any strong feelings either way, but I can understand that people are jazzed.
I don't, especially because it's been so long since it's like been waiting for the Borderlands 3 announcement for so long. So it's cool to finally have it here. But yeah, I definitely don't see it being your cup of tea.
No, probably not.
So, it's another one though that I'm looking.
It's a hard pass.
Something else to look forward to as I still wait for the release date of Last of Us Part 2.
Indeed. It's not going to happen.
Looking at you, Sony.
2021.
God damn
It's
it,
my
if it's
official
2021, I'm gonna be so mad.
I'm saying it right
man.
here, right now, 2021. Now, I still think it'll come out in 2020, but that's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So, as much fun as it is to talk about all these things and kind of catch up with ourselves, with each other, because this has been a very good catch up and going back on a lot of different fun things. It's been a lot of fun to do that. But we could keep this going for a very long time. But unfortunately, we do have to try to keep it within our normal time constraints for an episode. I know, like all these rules we've put upon ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and draw our conversation and everything to a close. But before we go, I do have a couple little extra things. As kind of a thank you to everyone for your patience as we've been having to go through, not have as many new episodes and content to show out. We did want to do another giveaway. So this is going to be fun. Don't get too excited. It's not as cool as a used PS4
It's
like our
still
last one.
pretty cool,
It's
though.
pretty cool, though, because these are actually hard to find. And what I'm talking about is I'm going to be giving away a brand new, still in its shrink wrapped, Last of Us Volume 2 soundtrack on vinyl from Mondo. So these are usually, they put these out, they sell, and once they sell out, they normally don't reprint. So it's an incredible soundtrack. Obviously, any fans of the Last of Us series or soundtrack know this. So we'll be giving this away. I'm not sure when we'll kick off the competition this week, so pay attention to our social media, and we'll let everyone know when that contest begins. So good luck to everyone who would like to try to win this.
An excellent prize, I would say.
I think so.
Vinyls are very cool, as we know.
I know.
From
I
this
have my
other
Last
one.
of Us one. Another one. This is the original printing that Mondo did that had volumes 1 and 2. You can buy volume 1. Yeah, they sold them. They did this initial pack that we have up here on the back wall of our studio here, where it was both volumes 1 and 2 packaged together, and then they broke them out later and did the volume 1 and volume 2 separately. And so they just came out with the volume 2 about a couple months ago.
Well,
So
hopefully people will be super excited about that.
they will be.
Music fans and video game fans alike.
Yes, indeed. But also, speaking of music, we do have to do our soundtrack spotlight before we go. And we picked a great one this week, I think. We are going to feature a track from Divinity Original Sin 2, and it is called Amber Ale. The composer is Borislav Slavov, and it's an incredibly fun tavern music piece.
And even his name and the name of the title of the song, it's like, wow, that does definitely sound like a ye old tavern kind of song.
It really is. It's great. It's got like some great fusions, and it's one that just kind of keeps building. It's just got this nice like medieval folksy feel to it, and then like near the end of it, it incorporates some accordion. It's just a really great, lighthearted, fun track to have on in the background. So
the accordion.
The accordion, though, much disparaged, only made famous by Weird Al, kind of thing.
Oh.
Isn't it Weird Al who plays the accordion, or am I totally off base on that?
Yeah,
he does.
he does.
Right? Yeah. So aside from Weird Al, who plays the accordion, but anyway, still though. Borislav Slavov does, and he incorporated it into a song for Amber Ale, and it's really great. So give that a listen after the official close of the episode, which is now. Thank you, everyone, once again for coming back and listening to this new episode. Thank you once again also for your patience in the last few weeks. Thank you to our patrons for helping us and continuing to make each and every show possible. We will see you all next week. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
Stick around for the song. We'll see you all next time.